what we're hoping to do is each week we want to do an interview with someone from our community, someone from our church, to encourage us and challenge us to think about how to be disciples of Jesus at this time. One of the people that is in our community is Brett Davis, who's also the founder of Christian Surfers. And so we've asked him to come in and speak to us about something that's going on in his life at the moment, particularly in the area of loving and loving his neighbours. And so let me introduce you to Brett Davis.
So we wanted to create a third space between the church space and the world space where meaningful relationships and service and conversations could take place. And it is an expression, I guess, ultimately of Jesus taking the form of flesh and connecting. Why can't we do the same expression in our local community? So it's a love of God communicating with people in a time of need. We've been in our street for 30 years. We did a letterbox drop to start a Squires Crescent closed Facebook group. We've had over 40 people join it, and the most recent one was telling us things like, so good to be part of this group. We feel like we've struck gold by this lovely community. Thank you for being friendly neighbours, and thank you, Brett, for setting up the group. So the idea of a community Facebook group to support one another through this time. Perhaps you underestimate the fact that you've got this solid Christian community where we have meaningful relationships and conversations, and other people that are not as practiced in that. So we can be on the front foot taking that initiative. We've been in our street for 30 years, and I guess we've been pretty high profile Christians as well. But even if you're relatively new at this, perhaps you haven't even had that meaningful relationships in your street, maybe now's the time to have courage and be God's agents of hope for such a time as this. So whether you formally want to set up something like that or informally, it just comes down to a personal connection with someone. Have courage, step out, and God can use you for that. So whether it's a offer of help, to shop, to drop in a note, to set up a call with someone, particularly those you know who might be a little vulnerable, be God's agent of hope for such a time as this.
Well, thanks for being with us this week. This is our hope and our prayer really, is that we will be hearing from one another throughout week by week. We want to encourage one another. We want to urge one another on to love and good deeds. And so it's our hope and our prayer that we will be doing that from week to week, hearing from each other about how we're living as disciples of Jesus. Brett was speaking about being agents of hope and having that peace of God during this time, but also not being inward or insular, but also having a sense of courage as well. That God has given us a spirit not of fear, but of love and power and self-discipline for such a time as this. And so again, let me sort of reiterate what Brett's challenge was, is to think about how you might be able to love and reach out at this time. If you'd like, one of the things we've attached to this email is a chance you could possibly print out a form and introduce your name and introduce yourself to your neighbours by putting your contact details at the bottom. We're suggesting that you even do it with a handwritten letter. If you've never spoken to the person before, you might just reach out to your street, put a little letter in each person's letterbox, introducing yourself, making an offer of help at this time, and even possibly putting your contact detail if you feel comfortable to do that. Hopefully you've had a very encouraging time with us this week, and hopefully I'll see you again shortly.